The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. "We are going through!" the captain shouted. His voice sounded like ice breaking. He was wearing a dark blue uniform, and his navy hat was pulled down over one of his cold gray eyes. The young officer standing next to him, Lieutenant Berg, was frightened. "We cannot make it, sir," he said. "We are flying into a terrible storm." "Turn on engine number 8, the captain said. "Turn on engine number 8, Lieutenant Berg shouted. "Full power in number 3, the captain ordered. "Full power in number 3, Lieutenant Berg yelled. The other navymen in the huge 8-engine seaplane smiled at each other. "Captain Mitty will get us through," they said. "He is not afraid of anything." "Stop driving so fast!" Mrs. Mitty yelled. Walter Mitty blinked his eyes. "What?" he said, as he looked at his wife sitting next to him in the car. The huge Navy seaplane, caught in a terrible storm, began to disappear from his mind. "You are driving too fast. You are going 55 miles an hour," Mrs. Mitty complained. "You know I don't like to go faster than 40. Walter Mitty was silent as he drove toward the town of Waterbury. Mrs. Mitty looked at her husband. "You are acting strange again. I wish you would let Dr. Renshaw examine you." Walter Mitty stopped the car in front of the building where his wife had her hair washed and curled. She opened the car door and turned to her husband. "Remember to get those rubber boots while I am having my hair done." "I don't need rubber boots," Walter Mitty said. "You are not a young man anymore," his wife said as she got out of the car. Walter Mitty stared out the car window. He started the car engine again and drove toward the public garage where he always parked his car. On the way to the garage, he passed a hospital. The pretty nurse looked worried as she told Dr. Walter Mitty about the sick man. "He's the millionaire banker Wellington McMillan," she whispered. "He is a friend of the president." Walter Mitty took off his gloves slowly. "Who has the case?" he asked. "Dr. Renshaw and Dr. Bambo," the nurse answered. "But there are also 2 specialists, Dr. Remington from New York and Dr. Pritchard from London." A door opened and Dr. Renshaw came out. "Hello, Mitty," he said. "We have a big problem here with McMillan. He has obtrusis of the ductal tract. Tertiary. We should take a look at I am." "Glad to," Dr. Mitty said. At this moment, a large machine connected to the operating table began to make strange noises. Packeta, packeta, packeta. One of the nurses screamed, "The new heart machine is breaking down. No one in this part of the country knows how to fix it." "Quiet, please," Walter Mitty said in a low, cool voice. By now, the machine was going packeta, packeta, quick, packeta, packeta, quick. He ran to the machine and began turning a row of knobs on it. "Give me a pen," he ordered. Someone handed a writing pen to him. He pulled a small metal tube out of the machine and put the pen in its place. "That will work for 10 minutes, he said. "You'd better start the operation now." Mitty saw Renshaw's face turned very white. "The patient has developed periapsis, Mitty. Would you perform the operation?" Walter Mitty looked at the worried faces. "If you wish," he said. He put on a white doctor's coat over his clothes. He covered his nose and mouth with a surgeon's mask and pulled on thin rubber gloves. One of the nurses handed him a shiny steel knife. "Watch out for that car!" someone shouted. Walter Mitty stepped hard on his brakes. The garage attendant walked over to Mitty's car. "We're coming in the wrong door, mister." "Sorry," Walter Mitty answered. The garage attendant opened the car door. "Get out of the car," he said. "I will park it for you." "Oh," said Walter Mitty. He got out of the car and handed the man the car keys. He went into the shoe store. A few minutes later, he came out with the boots in a box under his arm. Walter Mitty was frowning. His wife had told him to get boots and something else. He could not remember what the second thing was, but he knew his wife would remember. "Where is what's its name?" she would ask. Walter Mitty looked at his watch. His wife would be finished having her hair curled in 15 minutes. He walked over to the hotel where he always waited while she was having her hair done. Walter Mitty sat down in a big chair facing a window in the hotel lobby. He picked up a news magazine lying on a small table near his chair. It was full of news about the war with pictures of bomber planes. "Crowley has been wounded," Captain Mitty said. "Get him to the hospital. I will fly alone." The sergeant jumped to his feet. "You cannot fly alone, sir. It takes 2 men to handle that bomber plane." "Somebody's got to knock out that enemy supply center," Mitty said, as shells exploded outside. He waved to the sergeant as he walked out the door. "Why are you hiding in this old chair?" Mrs. Mitty asked. "I have been looking all over this hotel for you. Did you get what's his name? The dog food? What's in the box?" "Rubber boots," said Mitty. "Why didn't you put them in the store?" she asked. "I was thinking," said Walter Mitty. "Do you know that I sometimes think?" They left the hotel and began walking to the garage. As they passed a pharmacy on the corner, Mrs. Mitty said, "Wait here for me. I forgot to buy something." Walter Mitty lighted a cigarette. It began to rain. He stood against the wall, with his shoulders back and his feet together. "I don't want the handkerchief," Walter Mitty said coldly. He took one last puff of his cigarette and threw it away. Then he faced the firing squad with a smile on his face. He stood tall, proud, and undefeated. Walter Mitty, the man nobody knew. The end.